Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moodie.
I'm Wajatali, and I actually thought I gave Danielle less this time. And she was going to email me and say, all right, Waj, this is manageable. And then me, being a masochist, apparently gave her a Moby Dick, an entire huge epic.
It's like, where are we going with that?
I saw your face. That was amazing. This should be a meme main right there.
Uh-huh.
There was a lot that happened, folks. Danielle, I had an opportunity, thanks
Yes.
to our good friend,
Mm-hmm.
Joyanne Reed, on Friday to co-host the show with her. Joyanne was in Chicago. She was about to give a speech at a church where the priest, he talked to us, the father, just awesome. A Catholic priest who's all about helping immigrants, wants Democrats to say abolish ICE, a white Catholic priest, mind you. So she's like, as insurance, let me have a co-host for the first hour, me. In the second hour, let's have our friend Tiffany Cross, in case, the internet goes out, but also we'll mix it up. For the first hour, we had a really good lineup. We had Representative Hakeem Jeffries, and we have Representative Jayapal, right? And we had the father himself. There was no tag teaming, Danielle. Joy's like, we'll go back and forth. I was Robin to her Batman. It's her show. And, there was no, this is just a setup. There was no gotchas. And, we were going to talk about ICE and the shutdown and DHS. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity to ask Hakeem Jeffries, who is a leader, his position or lack thereof on abolish ICE, which is gaining steam. I thought, Danielle, it wasn't a gotcha. I assumed he'd disagree with me, but we would give him space to explain himself. And then, of course, well, this happened.
Yeah. So and I gotta say, folks, I want you to watch this, and maybe we'll play the whole thing, because I want to get to his response, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Unity.
Representative, may I?
Yes.
I'm going to give you some numbers. Just today, it came out that ICE is using $38 billion to convert warehouses into camps. I'm going to call them concentration camps. Your colleague, Representative Raskin, went to one just yesterday in Maryland and said there were 60 people cramped like sardines in one room who only had access to one toilet. 65% of people taken by ICE had no convictions. That's from the Cato Institute, a right-wing institute. ICE has killed 8 people this year alone that we know of. 2 of them, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty. The latest polls came out this week, AP polls. Over 60% of Americans now disapprove of ICE. That means in 3 weeks, it's gone from 30% to 60%. Now, if I may, I'm going to be a bit blunt here. Leaders lead. And what we've seen is people are impressionable. If you lead on something, people will follow. It seems the wind is behind your back for the first time ever. ICE has a history. CPP has a history of terrorizing Black and brown communities. People are asking themselves, why are we, our taxpayer dollars, paying for masked, lawless men to terrorize our communities, kidnap people, take children, and kill Americans? So I ask you, and I'm doing a following up to Joy, because I want an answer to this. You said you want to rein in ICE. I'm saying, I'm talking about the long term now. Why not lead and say abolish ICE? Because what you're telling us is you want our taxpayer dollars to pay for a lawless masked armed agency to continue terrorizing our cities. And I'm trying to figure out how you, as a leader, can be telling Americans that their taxpayer dollars should be going to ICE.
I don't understand anything that you just said.
I spoke English.
I don't understand anything that you've just said to me when I've made clear that taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them. That's the whole reason we're in this fight right now. That's the whole reason the DHS is getting ready to shut down. That's
So
the whole
abolish
reason
ICE.
why
You agree with me,
voting,
Joy? Abolish ICE.
Listen, I'm going to use the language that I want to use. You can use the language that you want to use. And the language that I'm using right now relates to these type of bold, meaningful, dramatic changes that are designed to save lives right now in communities that look like the ones that I represent. And that's the goal.
So let me ask you this. Yeah.
So I want to react, and then I'm going to let you react to seeing this again, and then you can talk to us also, Waj, about the responses that you've received since this interview. And I have to say to you, one, This is why I chose you as my co-host. That question was mwah. It was gorgeous. Not only did you come with the facts and the stats, you did not stumble. You gave him like so that he didn't have any cover about, well, the American people. No, you gave him poll after poll and thoughts after thoughts about the brutality that Americans have seen. My the specifics that you said that in 3 weeks Americans went from 30%, right, to abolish ICE to 60% in 3 weeks. You have the wind at your back. I loved you saying that. Why wouldn't you just run with this leaders lead? It was so clear. And for him to then, his initial response to open up and said, I don't understand anything that you said, which was, I'm like, did it come across in Mandarin? I'm confused as to why you would say that you didn't understand anything that was said because it was clear. And then getting angry and saying, well, you can say, I'm going to use the words that I want to use. You're not going to use any words at all that have any meaning. So I just, again, bravo, because I am tired of watching hosts fucking use kid gloves with the leadership because they feel like, well, they won't get another opportunity for what? Another opportunity for lackluster bullshit, another opportunity to lie to the public, another opportunity to stammer. And so that was amazing because you showcased what a coward he is without actually having to call him a coward. You asked him a direct question and you watched him flail.
And
So
you know,
what has been your response? Yeah.
well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. But honestly, what's so sad is the bar is so low. Like, like I said to you before, that was not my intention. I was Robin to Joy's Batman. Joy asked him, she was good cop. I guess I played bad cop. She asked him 3 times, Danielle. Like, she really tried to get an answer out of him. And 2 people who I won't mention messaged me and said, hey, for a second, I thought that was AI. Like, I thought you guys were doing some like AI type thing. Like, that was a human. And like, oh my God, that was actually a human being. Because if you go back and listen to Hakeem Jeffries, he actually sounds like AI. Like something came out like programmed, like Chat GPT. This is how humans talk. This is how you get all 4 quadrants. And then you make a safe non-answer word salad and distract and obfuscate. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was an answer, right? And look, listen, in all fairness, if you're against abolish ICE, explain it to us. Like, just talk to us.
Yeah, that exactly. You can literally say, you know what? You all are talking about abolish ICE. I don't believe in abolishing ICE. And here are my reasons as to why I don't. I know that they may not be popular, but let me, again, this is what I mean when I say stand 10 toes down for something, show some type of integrity. Even if your feelings and your position is not popular with the public, at least fucking have the audacity and the courage to say why, right? Like, I don't believe in abolishing ICE because I believe that ICE can do this, that, blah, 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 blah.
That's it.
And
That'd
name
be
it.
fair. That'd be fair. I disagree, but that'd be fair.
Right.
And he just said something. He stands for nothing. They choose to take 0 risks. They will refuse to embrace any type of change. What they want, folks. And this is why when Danielle and I have critiqued the establishment Democrats, we didn't say all Democrats, and we brought some good receipts today too about how you can answer this question. The establishment Democrats are all part of the big club. That's what I realized. It's a big club and we ain't in it. And what you saw with Jeffries and his answer, right, when you look at the entire clip, is, oh, we're winning elections. And, we're taking a Donald Trump. And like we said, they are already spiking the ball. They realize we don't have to embrace any position. We don't have to take a risk. We don't have to, if you will, run on transformation. We can run on restoration. Also, they realize, you know what? If people are still voting for Democrats, we don't have to do an audit of where we've effed up for the past 10 years. I'll give you an example, Danielle. DNC Chair Ken Martin promised his base, we will release the audit of the 2024 election and why we lost. Once that they saw Trump is so bad that they're actually picking up these seats, right, in red districts, they're like, aha, we don't need to give them an audit. We don't need to embrace abolish ICE. We don't need to embrace progressive economic changes. We don't need to stop supporting Israel. We can do business as usual. Because they're gonna vote for us anyway. And why are we running?
But that's not who's actually winning. So like the fact is, right? So he can sit there and say that, and I understand like the mentality around like I guess what they believe is some type of bogus bullshit neutrality in the face of extremism. But the reality is that when we roll out the Democrats that are winning right now, these are Democrats that are standing 10 toes down. These are Democrats that are unequivocally standing by the Palestinian people, that are unequivocally standing by and saying, no, our tax dollars should not be going to brutalize people, right? Abolish ICE. Like these are people that are standing in their truth, and that's why they're being elected. They're not being elected because they've decided to vote blue no matter who. They're not being elected just because they have a D behind their name. Because if there's anything that is being expressed to us in this time over the last 10 goddamn years, is that having a D behind your name without having the audacity to actually fight for the people that vote you in doesn't matter. You Fetterman, fucking Jeffries, like the rest of them, they are wimps, right? They are lackluster. So I don't care if they're a Democrat or not. You might as well run as a centrist fucking Republican at this point.
That's look, folks, they are more. I've never seen, I said this over the weekend on, I think, on one of the social media platforms, and I want your take on this. And I tried to be fair. I've never seen a political party that hates its base more than the Democratic establishment hates Democrats. Even Republicans don't behave like this. Republicans try their best to meet them. Republicans meet the moment. They realize the anger. So then they'll like pivot their messages, or they'll try to explain it, or they'll amplify Donald Trump's nonsense and try to like, massage it and sell it to the base, right? Democrats do this. Just pay attention to this, Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
No. F you. Shut up. You're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're gonna send money to Israel. We're not gonna have a Palestinian on the stage. Tax billionaires? Are you stupid? You're stupid. Abolish ICE? I'm not even gonna give you an answer. I can't even understand what you're saying, you crazy darky. I can't even understand what you're saying. You silly brown person who I don't know. Why are you even here? I was supposed to talk to Joanne Reed. I thought I'd get a softball interview, right? I don't have to explain anything to you. I have to explain things to my corporate donors. And someone messaged me who's kind of close to the Democratic Party and knows these players. And to your question about how did people respond, I got a lot of people, overwhelming response, overwhelmingly. The clip has gone kind of quasi-viral. So many people said, thank you. He's useless. They're all useless, the establishment. This person said, Democrats know Hakeem Jeffries is weak. Democrats know he's not a fighter. The reason why Hakeem Jeffries is in that position is for two reasons. Number one is because, like you said, he stands for nothing. He's safe. He won't promise any type of reformative change. He can just talk in the word salad. But number two, want to take a guess, Danielle? He's a good fundraiser.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and this is what I want folks watching to understand, right? We do not have to settle for Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. And I think that we need to move outside of operating from a place of fear that is like, well, if we don't just support any Democrat, right, then a Republican gets in. Let me tell you something. Things are pretty fucking shitty and can absolutely get worse. But the only way that they're going to get better, the only way that we have a fighting fucking chance is to choose people that will fight for us. Right? I don't need fucking Biggie lyrics. I don't need bullshit pandering to pop culture that you're not even a part of because because folks in pop culture think you're a fucking clown. Right? Like the reality is to me is that I am in a space now where anyone that an establishment Democrat says like this is the person you should vote for, that's the I'm going with whoever is on the other side. Honestly, like Nancy Pelosi, and we'll talk about this later in the show. Anyone that Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer says, "Oh, this should be our person for 2028." First of all, you're ignoring the fact that we most likely won't get to 2028 presidential election. That's on facts. Like, let's just be real.
Well, Danielle, someone's saying your YouTube stream isn't streaming.
My YouTube stream isn't streaming.
They said refresh the stream. 2 people have said this so far. Sorry to interrupt you.
I can't refresh the stream. If I
Folks, anyone who's watching on YouTube, can you still see?
Yeah, let me
we're good. We're good. 2 people said The stream
Okay.
wasn't working for
Pull
them.
it up on your
It's
while
fine.
I'm
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
okay.
Continue, please.
Okay, mine is fine. Stream is on YouTube is fine. It's fine. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate that. So I mean, the fact is, again, we have just been fed crumbs by the Democratic Party. It isn't just Republicans. We're in this space now because of Democrats. I mean, the fact that I said this last week and I'll say it again. I feel fucking crazy. I feel crazy to listen to establishment Democrats talk about midterms and talk about 2028 as if this is just the same as 2016, as if it's just the same as 2012. You have learned nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing in 10 years. 10 fucking years we've been dealing with Donald Trump and they have learned nothing. So for you to come out and tell us that, oh, we still need moderation, get the fuck out of the way. Like, in all honesty, get the fuck out of the way. This is why I've said, and then I'm going to end my rant. I have said over and over again, I do not believe in a two-party system. I do not believe in a two-party democracy. I don't. I believe that you need multi-parties. I believe that the people need more than one choice between bad and worse. Like, you need multiple choices. And you see why? Because then the parties are forced to actually work for you. But when it's between like, oh, well, you can go with the devil, right? Or you can go with the devil's helper. Like, that's not a real fucking choice. So it isn't a real choice between Republicans and Democrats, because the Democrats, when they get into power, what do they do? What do they do? What do they advance for us? Nothing. And so I'm tired of listening to the Jeffries and the Schumers and the Pelosi's try and talk down to their base and tell us that we don't understand how to win. Y'all don't understand how to win, and you also don't understand your base. And this is why people are jumping ship from the Democratic Party and signing themselves up as independents.
Well, it's what we've said, and I think he proved it, right? They want restoration. They want status quo. They want to return to the late 90s and early 21st century. They're more comfortable with center-right Republicans than they are with their own base. They would rather bear hug Liz Cheney and embrace the Bulwark and Tim Miller and some Lincoln Project folks than you. Gavin Newsom will never have you on, but he will have, like, friggin' Charlie Kirk on. He'll have Ben Shapiro on, and he'll agree with them, right? So this is who they're comfortable with. They're comfortable with the status quo, feed the military-industrial complex, feed corporate America, get paid, feather your nest, and look how they talk about, really, folks, think about this. Just listen, because I pay attention. Listen to how they refer to the rest of us. Left wing, leftist, far left. Democrats themselves are embarrassed by the term progressive and leftist. I have never seen any Republican who actually is embarrassed by the term conservative or right wing. They embrace it. Like, yes, I am right wing. I am conservative. You have Democrats themselves saying this is just the leftist wing of the party. And then the way it's so hilarious, the people who are his minions in the center right folks, there's this website called Mediaite. I'm sure you know Mediaite. Mediaite had a write-up yesterday. It said Hakeem Jeffries grilled by left wing
host.
I'm like, I have no name, folks.
No name.
There's no name. My name is left wing host. That's my name. You just so dismissive. And I find it so interesting that the powers that be are dismissing the majority, because suppose I am left wing. My position, Danielle, according to the polls, is actually the majority position.
Right.
So I'm not the fringe. It's you all who are on the fringe who still embrace these, if you will, archaic, outdated, and very harmful positions. So what does that say about you?
Yeah. And that's the thing that I want to say, because you said too, Hakeem Jeffries was chosen because he doesn't stand for anything and because he's safe. And I would say that in this day and age, Hakeem Jeffries not standing for anything is probably the most dangerous thing that you can be, is just apathetic. And the reason why they won't release that report is because then they would be forced to change.
That's right.
And they don't want to change, Because if that report just said, oh, well, Kamala Harris wasn't moderate enough, the Democrats weren't moderate enough, oh, then they would be happy to release it and rub it in progressives' faces. But the fact is that that's not what that report said. The report said that, you know what? The people actually want you to take action and not be fucking corporate suckasses. But no, nope. They don't want to release that because, again, they'd be forced to take action and take less money. And they don't want to do that because it would affect their bottom line. But you want to see a politician who actually can speak and knows what to say when asked a question? Let's listen to AOC while she is in Berlin.
Remember that there are more of us than them. And to your earlier question, when you said, what do you say to people who don't know what to do in this time? Every one of us can be sand in the gears of an injustice. And whether it is a delay, whether it is saying no, I think about how all the people in Minneapolis refused to let ICE officers use the bathroom in their establishments. I mean, it's a small thing, but it matters. It matters. It matters. Because to you, as one individual, you are a person that's kind of closing your shop to someone like that, and it's, oh, well, it may seem almost petty or personal or whatever, but when a whole community bands together and does that, first of all, it creates a culture, which is part of what the ascendant right is doing, right? It creates a culture. We create a culture of protection of one another, a culture of solidarity with one another, and it's rebellious. But more importantly, it is it does put a very real strain on them. They have to run around, they don't know what to do, maybe they have to get their own facilities, and it starts to disorganize this apparatus that originally seemed very impenetrable.
Doesn't seem that hard. It doesn't seem.
You will never, ever, ever hear a corporate Democrat. I refuse the word to use. I refuse to use the word centrist because they're not. Center. If we allow them to use the word center, they hijack the conversation and they make themselves seem like moderates, and we move the Overton window. They're not. They're not center. They're actually right wing. These corporate Democrats would never say that because that would show what? Some guts. That would show, I don't know, some cojones. That would show, I don't know, some form of resistance. So what do they say instead? We need law enforcement, but we have to rein them in. And then this is what the 4 quadrants of ChatGPT say. This is how you attract Hakeem Jeffries is a word salad. And what I mean by 4 quadrants, folks, for those who don't know that language, is when it comes to corporate America, like movies and TV shows, they say, you know what? We did the testing, and your product appeals to the 4 quadrants, 18 to 49, male, female, and seniors. Everyone has something here. You won't offend anyone. So we're going to bring out this vanilla product, and we're going to make $300 million. And the product comes out and it flops. And that's the Democratic establishment. And that's all of Hakeem Jeffries' talking points. I will not stand for anything. Can you ever imagine Hakeem Jeffries saying, isn't it great how Minneapolis protesters are doing this one small thing that they're uniting and saying, you know what, ICE, if you terrorize us, you can't use our bathrooms. Isn't that a great thing? Can you ever imagine Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Schumer saying that?
Because that's the same man that told representatives that wanted to go to Minneapolis to show solidarity not to go. This is the same man that is telling folks that as we're getting ready for the State of the Union, which is shit, you don't need to watch Donald Trump lie to you for fucking 90 minutes or seem as if he's high on Adderall, because that's the only way to get him to put together a sentence. Not to protest. Don't do anything. Just sit there silently and worthless. Like, that's what your leader is telling you to do, right? And so it is just, again, and look at the numbers, folks. Congresswoman AOC is currently one of the most popular figures among Democrats, right? And that's just like Democrats that have run for that are representatives. You have her at 85%. You got Kamala at 81%. You have Gavin Newsom at 79. You got Pete Buttigieg at 78, and then it goes down, and you have Hakeem Jeffries at 60. I don't even know why he's at 60. Right, the last person on this list is Chuck Schumer, and I think that he was at like 43%. I don't even know why Chuck Schumer is at 43%.
The bottom two,
Because
by the way, the bottom two were Schumer, who was in the
was
negative, with the and then Jeffries.
And the fact is, Waj, you posted today on your Instagram a disgusting tweet by Representative Randy Fine, who disparages Muslims with just no guardrails, no repercussions, no nothing. Says the most vile and disgusting things to dehumanize the Muslim community. Now, I have never seen leadership call for that man to be censured.
Not once.
I have not seen anyone in leadership come out and say and stand with and against hateful rhetoric and call for this man to be censured, right? Not one time, not on social media and not calling a press conference. No. And this is exactly how that kind of hatred festers and becomes normalized political language. That's how hate speech becomes normalized political language, because those that are leadership that are supposed to stand up for everybody choose to do nothing, choose to say nothing. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Until, of course, that rhetoric turns into actual physical violence and results in death. Because it starts with words.
Can I share what he said?
Sure.
Representative Randy Fine, not the first time he's done it. We've shared some of his tweets before, has never been censured. Last night, decides to tweet, yesterday in the afternoon, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. If it was any other group, Danielle, wouldn't it be, I don't know, headline news? Wouldn't there be, I don't know, massive hearings about this? Wouldn't he be censured? Wouldn't there be calls for him being censured? Can you imagine if Rashida Tlaib said something about, oh, I don't know, Zionists? What would they do to her? Oh, yeah, we know that Democrats censured Rashida Tlaib because she criticized Israel and stood up for Palestinians. We know that Democrats censured Representative Green because last year he stood up with his cane and called out Donald Trump while Donald Trump was lying about Social Security and Medicare. And Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer said, Democrats just sit there like feckless, impotent eunuchs with your little ping pong. Remember that? The ping pong.
Yeah, they're just, it was
what was
pathetic.
that thing called?
The fucking auction paddle.
It
was fucking dumb, right? Like, you want to show, and again, I'm so tired of saying that Democrats don't know how to communicate. I'm so tired of saying that they're so bad at this, blah, blah. It's 10 goddamn years, right? You have children in high schools that are organizing fucking mass walkouts. You can't organize a walkout as soon as Donald Trump stands up there to open up his mouth to lie to the American people while he has his Gestapo and fucking slave catchers on the street beating and beating people and gassing people and violating their civil rights. As soon as he stands up and speaks, everyone gets up and files out. And that's it. And then you hold your fucking press conference on the steps of the Capitol, where all of the press will be waiting. They can't manage that. It is not fucking rocket science. But, you look at these numbers, right? You look at the fact that, a plurality of people now favor abolishing ICE, right? You look at the numbers, folks. February, AP North poll has a large majority of Americans unhappy with what ICE has been doing. See the graph and the comment. Here's the comment from a veteran. And they said this at the bottom. Having the border shut, that's okay. But what Trump is doing with ICE and Homeland Security, you don't go yanking people out of cars. You don't go shooting people, said independent Rick Kennett, a 60-year-old Navy veteran from Crawfordsville, Indiana. I spent 8 years in the military. This is not what I signed up for, he said. This is not what we're supposed to do. This is not constitutional, right? Also, over the weekend, white man holding an American
Mm.
flag, went to his first protest in New Jersey. Why was that? The man was caught in a video on TikTok, and he said, I watched fourth and fifth graders run from our government today when they got off of the school bus. There were masked ICE agents at the school bus waiting for these kids when they were getting dropped off. And I watched them in our country, not in Afghanistan, not in Iran, not in Iraq, not in other of these places, right? That we just dismiss the violence and we dismiss what America has caused in these regions of the world. No, they were running, and he was choking up. White man holding a flag was damn near tears, because he's like, this is, I don't understand. I don't understand. This is not okay.
No, he got radicalized in real time. You're seeing people get radicalized in real time. And I saw that video as well, and it's been going viral. I recommend people seeing it because, he says, I've never done this before. I've never gone to a protest before. I love my country. I love America, but I just can't. They're going after children being afraid and running for their lives. And he did start crying. And so now they're radicalizing veterans. They're radicalizing white Republican Trump voters. They're radicalizing young people who have never, ever protested, right? It's usually people like us who go out and protest. Like, please don't shoot us. They're like, no, we will still shoot you. Black Lives Matter. That's too radical. We're not saying Black Lives are the greatest, but can Black Lives matter? And America is like, no.
No.
Hey, the war on terror. Can you stop going after, I don't know, innocent Muslim Americans? No, you're all the same. And now that same agency that was created in the aftermath on the war on terror in 2003, like we've always said, one day, God forbid, would be turned against fellow Americans by an authoritarian. And Democrats and Republicans had no problem feeding this beast, giving it all the blank checks it wanted. DHS, take whatever you want. National security, national security, national security. Go after the Muslims. Go after the terrorists. Go after the drug dealers. Go after the Latinos. Go after Black people too. Why not? You always do anyway. And now they're going after white Americans. They're killing them, lying about the murder, covering it up, folks. And as this is happening, ICE is still in Minnesota, even after Tom Homan said we're ending the surge, still operating with impunity. And furthermore, the Department of Justice is not investigating Officer Ross, the murder of Renee Nicole Good. Danielle, tell him who the Department of Justice is trying to investigate.
Oh, we've been telling you. They are investigating her widow, right? Instead of investigating the officers that emptied out their clip on Alex Preddy, who are they investigating? Alex Preddy, right? So, folks, like, we know what the deal is. And the fact is, again, you're looking for a party to save you. You're looking for some type of leadership to guide you. And I'm telling you, you don't need it, because the people in Minnesota realize we're all we got, right? And they linked arms, and they're continuing to fight for their community, to fight for their state together. They don't need the governor standing up there and saying and directing people and telling them what to do. They don't need their mayor standing up there and directing and telling people. They don't need the Democratic Party, because if it was up to the Democratic Party, they would have told the people of Minnesota, you know what? Just, just follow orders, just abide by, it's the law right now, but I swear to you, we'll get them in midterms, but just keep your head down. Don't film them. Stay back. Say yes, sir, yes, man, as they're bashing your head in, as they're spraying you with bug spray, with bear spray, as they're doing all of these harmful things. Just take it and don't worry. In a few months, everything will be okay. No. Take lessons from the people of Minnesota.
Can we show what's happening real quick? Two quick things as this is happening. What ICE is doing. Do you have that Wired article?
Mm-hmm.
ICE is spending $38 billion.
Oh, no, I'm going to go to this one first.
Wait. Okay, go ahead. Show.
So, because I want to be really clear, right? And I think that this is important. Look at these individuals that are in this article up at NBCnews.com. So when Hakeem Jeffries had the audacity to say to Waj, I don't know what you're talking about. when he asked him about abolishing ICE.
Mm.
This is what Waj was talking about. This, the white man without his shirt on. By the way, this is what rubber bullets do to you. It's particularly when they're at close range. The gentleman in the middle, he was damn near like given the Joker smiley face with
He
a
was
knife.
actually, he looks like he was almost garroted. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a neck scar. Oh
Right?
my
Do
God.
you see his neck scar? Then you
Wow.
have this woman in a hail of smoke, right? And I just want to say this. This is what the NBCnews.com writes. They batter bodies with rubber bullets and sear eyes with pepper spray. They lob tear gas and explosive flashbangs at chanting crowds. They smash car windows. They shove people to the ground. They ram vehicles and point their guns. Federal officers carrying out Donald Trump's immigration crackdown in cities across the country have shot 13 people with guns. But far more often, they have used harsh tactics to scare or repel those they see as getting in their way. The officers, masked and kitted out with military-grade armor and rifles, have faced down peaceful protesters and people who have threatened, obstructed, or attacked them with methods that are less deadly than guns, but still inflict grievous injuries. Hundreds have been hurt. And courts in at least 4 states have found that officers use force inappropriately and indiscriminately. So that is to set the scene, right? And the people in Minnesota tell horrific stories as to what is happening. It isn't just what you are seeing in the headlines. We're lucky to see the headlines. It is what is happening to these communities every single fucking day. It is the fact that restaurants and local businesses have shuttered, right? It is the fact that people are not leaving their homes. So there are meal trains and laundry trains so that people can stay inside safe, that children have stopped going to school because they're being terrorized when they get off of the bus. Will there be masked men with guns that are chasing children down? So on top of that, what else is happening? Well, the DHS plans a $38 billion operation to expand their armed forces, to expand their warehouse prisons. Warehouse prisons, by the way, folks, and I want you to understand, what are warehouses built for? They are built for packages. They are not built for human beings. And that is the fucking point. They don't have toilets. They don't have the right ventilation. They don't have recreation areas that are required of our prisons, right? It is dehumanizing. It is debilitating. It is disgusting. And this is what our tax dollars are going to fund. So when Waj looks at the leader of the minority leader of the House and says, how can you not abolish ICE given everything that we've seen, everything that we know? And this is what Chuck Schumer and what Hakeem Jeffries are standing for. Waj.
I mean, it goes back to the question I asked him. How can you or any leader or any elected official ask Americans to use our taxpayer dollars to pay an agency to terrorize us? Because, folks, I'm just breaking it down. That's what they're asking us to do. They're asking you to use your taxpayer dollars to fund the salaries, the 6-figure salaries of ICE agents to break your bones, blind you in the eye, shoot you with tear gas. I've been shot with tear gas before, folks. It is terrible. To harass your children, to kidnap your children, to use your children as bait, and then also to kill you in broad daylight, and then gaslight you about why they killed you, and then investigate your family instead of the officer, because, as we heard JD Vance say, ICE agents have absolute immunity. And we are told, shut up and pay for it. Because you know what? Abolish ICE is a little bit scary. And you know what? A couple of years ago, when some people said defund the police, that didn't work out well for us. That's what it's all about, folks. That's what I'm telling you all. That's what it's all about. These people are so cowardly, so terrified that a couple of years ago, they saw some people say defund the police and they're like, oh, that didn't work out. This is why they're paralyzed by fear and unwilling to lead on abolish ICE, even though the wind is behind their back. And to them, I say the following. ICE is not the same thing as police. ICE was created in 2003. We don't have members in our community who are part of the police, right? Police, people are very critical of the police, but at the same time, people want the police. They want the police to be reformed, right? It ain't the same thing. There's no TV shows about ICE on CBS. There's no movies about ICE, right? It's not romanticized. It isn't part and parcel of our culture going back centuries. It was created in 2003, and it is hated. But they're so cowardly, Danielle, that they take the Republicans' talking points and say, defund the police. That didn't work out several years ago.
I'll do you one better. The reason why, and it goes back farther than a couple of years ago and defund the police in 2020, it goes all the way back to the 1990s crime bill. It goes all the way back to the Republicans' talking point on Democrats being soft on crime, which is what pushed the crime bill that not only disenfranchised people, but set entire generations of Black people behind bars for minimum infractions. And that was led by who? Joe Biden. So, folks, like, this is something that Democrats, it isn't just a few years ago. This is generation, right, of allowing Republicans to frame your argument, right? That is what Democrats have done. They don't have an argument, so they've allowed Republicans to frame it for them when it comes to quote unquote crime, when it comes to quote unquote law enforcement, etc.
Immigration. This is why when you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. What do you stand for? Nothing, because we're weak and we're terrified. Why don't you propose an immigration bill? No, we'll just punt it. What is your idea on how to keep the border safe? We won't say. We'll be Republican light. And if you think Danielle's making it up, let me bring a receipt before we move on. Last year, Donald Trump is elected. The Lake and Riley Act is introduced by the Republicans. Republicans say that they're tough on crime and tough on the border. So they promote this draconian bill that will punish undocumented immigrants for non-violent offenses, right? Just minor stuff, even theft, like you stole a piece of gum from 7-Eleven. Guess who signed up and helped pass this in the House and the Senate? Danielle, who helped them?
Democrats. And just again, what is ICE and the Department of Homeland Security up to next with the warehouses that they are building, which I tell you over and over again is not for undocumented people. It's not for immigrants. The Department of Homeland Security has sent legal requests to Google, Reddit, Meta, and Discord for the names, email addresses, telephone numbers, and identifying data of accounts that track and criticize ICE. What are they going to do with that inside of a supposed democratic country? Is it illegal to criticize ICE? Is it illegal to track ICE and where ICE is? No, not inside of a democracy. It's not legal. So why would you need that information? So that you can spread out your operation, so that you can fill the insatiability of the for-profit prison industry, right? And lock up people for doing what? Exercising their rights as citizens inside of this country. And again, going back to the top, when Waj asked Hakeem Jeffries, why not just say abolish ICE? And he stutters and looks like a fucking AI avatar. This is what they're doing with our money. Oh, I'm saying that they need to concentrate on afford. Shut the fuck up. In all honesty.
How do you rein this in, Danielle? How do you rein in something like that? You tell us, folks. We're the crazy ones. Do we have another point of contention where Democrats refuse to learn. And, I'm going to go ahead and say it, hold their base in utter contempt. Utter contempt. Danielle, 2024
Mm-hmm.
election.
Mm-hmm.
Genocide. Genocide's still happening, by the way, folks. Israel's still killing people left and right. We were told, you all who are complaining about this genocide, you all who are complaining about Biden's utter complicity. I know people don't like hearing it, folks. He was utterly complicit. Without Biden, Netanyahu would not have been able to start that genocide and continue it with Donald Trump. Joe Biden evolved, like he said on the crime bill. He evolved, said it was a mistake. Even Bill Clinton said it was a mistake in the 90s, right? He evolved on his economic plan. His progressive economic agenda was hijacked by who? Not the progressives who fought for it. Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, the centrists that you all tell us that we need to, include in the party. But the one thing he was unable to evolve on, just couldn't evolve, it was ideological for him, Israel. Kept sharing that same story about meeting Golda Meir in the 70s, kept saying he was a proud Zionist, literally, the president of the United States of America repeated pro-Israel talking points, literally dehumanized Palestinians, did not acknowledge the Gaza Health Ministry numbers. Our State Department uses those numbers. The United Nations uses those numbers. But Biden said, oh, it's Hamas. And now, Danielle, 2.5 years later, Israel, that demonized everyone for using those numbers that our government always relied upon, guess what Israel said last month? Oh, yeah, those numbers are accurate.
And they're not accurate. We know that they are a lot more than what is being said. What has been reported is roughly 70,000 Palestinians are dead. And what we actually think is that it's in the hundreds of thousands.
6 figures, easily. That's what Lancet said. Lancet, the medical journal. Now, for those who forget, we said, please stop the genocide. Biden said no. We said, please limit, aid and weapons. Biden said no. The bar was so low, Daniel. The bar was so low. We said, can you have a Palestinian just address the nation at the DNC? And what did the DNC tell Democrats, Danielle?
No.
No. YouGov poll came out. What was the main reason why Democrats stayed home, Danielle? Not the only reason, but the main reason.
Palestine.
Okay. AIPAC, which, as we know, very influential, sits there and funds both sides of the aisle through individual donors, has gone against Democrats. They went against Cori Bush because she was pro-Palestinian. They went against Bowman. Spent a historic amount of money on Cori Bush. Got rid of her. Bragged about it. AIPAC now and Israel are toxic, especially with Democrats. The wind is behind their back. Right? They still take money from AIPAC. They still support Israel. Danielle, you would think in 2026, after AIPAC just shot itself in the foot by spending $2 million against the Democrat who was probably going to win New Jersey District 11, which was Mikey Sherrill's district. They spent $2 million against Tom Malinowski, a center-left Democrat, for just slightly going off script on Israel. Danielle, chef's kiss. As a result of AIPAC going against the Democratic candidate, can you tell everyone who won?
Go ahead.
Congressman Tom Malinowski congratulates progressive, pro-Palestinian, straight-up abolish ICE organizer Ana Lilia Mejia, who won because AIPAC spent money to knock him out, and AIPAC thought, oh, our candidate, who was the number 3 Democratic candidate, would win. No, Ana Lilia Mejia won. She goes, this is just so good. I congratulate Ana Lilia Mejia on her hard-won victory. I look forward to supporting her. Okay, check this out. Second paragraph. But the outcome of this race cannot be undone without also taking into account the massive flood of dark money that AIPAC spent on dishonest ads during the last 3 weeks. I wish I could say today that this effort, which was meant to intimidate Democrats across the country, failed in New Jersey District 11, but it did not. I met several voters in the final days of the campaign who had seen the ads and asked me sincerely, are you MAGA? Are you for ICE? My convictions, including my support for Israel as a democratic and Jewish state, don't change because of who supports or opposes me, but our Democratic Party should have nothing to do with a pro-Trump billionaire-funded organization that demands absolute fealty to positions that are outside the mainstream of the American pro-Israel community, and then smears those who don't fall in line. If AIPAC backs a candidate, this is what I love, openly or surreptitiously, in the June New Jersey 11th District congressional primary, I will oppose that candidate and urge my supporters to do so as well. The threat unlimited dark money posed to our democracy is far more significant than the views of a single member of Congress or Middle East policy. Danielle, AIPAC radicalized Tom Malinowski.
Yep.
Do we have the clip where I asked Hakeem Jeffries about AIPAC money?
Yes, we do. Oh, hold 1 second, please. Because sometimes it
Look at that
doesn't
man's
want to.
smile. Even his smile is AI. He looks like that.
Let me see. Oh, no, this is it.
Last question. I have one last question. Do you? Because I want to make sure that
well, I
get
do
our
have
next
one
guest
question
on.
about accountability, and I'll put my cards on the table. I'm against fascists and MAGA and Donald Trump, and I want Democrats to win, but I want the right Democrats to win. And I remember the YouGov poll that came out after the 2024 election said the main reason why Democrats stayed at home was their displeasure with the genocide that's happening in Gaza. And what we've seen is AIPAC. AIPAC now has spent $2 million attacking a moderate-leaning Democrat, Tom Malinowski, a Democrat, in the special House election in New Jersey 11th District. And we got a progressive Latina, Representative Mejia, who won, who, by the way, says abolish ICE. My question for you, if you're looking for accountability, if you're looking for change, shouldn't Democrats stop taking money from AIPAC that has spent so much money against Democrats?
Well, listen, everyone's going to have to make their individual decisions. My view as it relates to Democratic incumbents, first of all, is that I will continue to stand by every single one of them, whether that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the one hand, or the most conservative, moderate Democrat on the other, who's sitting in the Trump district and at all points in between, right? That's what I'm going to do as House Democratic leader. Now, in terms of how people individually fundraise, I'm proud of the fact that my average contribution amongst the millions of dollars that I've been working hard to raise for my own reelection that I use to help elect Democrats in other parts of the country is $27 per contributor. That's my average contribution. That's probably the lowest in the Congress. And so now everyone is going to raise money from their own constituents in different ways, and their own constituents are going to have a variety of different perspectives on a variety of different issues. But make no mistake, there's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans, and we're seeing that right now. I know some people like to project otherwise. How one can see the horrors of what has been inflicted on the American people since January 20th of last year and conclude otherwise, or want to try to suggest that there's no difference in one's quality of life. When I go to Bedford-Stuyvesant or Brownsville or East New York or Canarsie or the West End of Coney Island, people know that their life is being made markedly worse.
Yeah, by cowards like you.
But I asked him, I don't know if you saw that, but I asked him right after, so will you stop taking money from AIPAC? And he didn't answer.
Because of who's in office right now, both in the White House and the House.
Well, Representative, respectfully,
and we're determined to do something about that.
Just a quick follow-up. So that means, will you stop taking money from AIPAC?
I'm going to continue to raise money in the same way that I've been raising it, where the average contribution from millions of people across the country is $27.
So $27, $27 is what he wants to boast. And let's just look at the actual numbers, shall we? AIPAC, Representative Hakeem Jeffries is one of the biggest recipients of Israel lobby money, approaching $1.3 million. Not the same as $27, is it? Of course, he's not worried about it. He's paid to look the other way.
Do you have that Schumer quote?
I don't, but we played it last week. We played it last week.
2 weeks ago, Schumer at the breakfast while cameras were on him openly said, that his goal, one of his roles as leader of Democrat, is to ensure that Israel will always be funded.
Yeah, that's his job as a New York senator for the United States of America. And just again, what is
This was
Israel
yesterday.
what is Israel doing? Stealing more land, killing more people. That's what they're doing. And that's what Hakeem Jeffries is happy to look the other way because his pockets are fat, and that's all that matters.
There's another person, Danielle, who we've played the clip. He invited Ben Shapiro, that stalwart Democrat, on his podcast, where he agreed with Ben Shapiro on two things. That, yeah, we shouldn't say that ICE is state-sponsored terrorism. You're right. That was too much. And then when Ben Shapiro said, come on now, when people are saying that Israel's committing genocide, that's just too far. Yeah, you're right. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that Israel's committing genocide. Yeah. Who said that 2 weeks ago, Daniel? Can you just remind our audience? Oh, Gavin Newsom.
Newsom. So here is just the latest coming from Axios and coming from Nancy Pelosi, who is 86 years old. Former Pelosi aides told Axios the former speaker was always eager to publicly vouch for Newsom whenever asked, and that she's privately expressed admiration for how he has navigated Trump with a combination of defiance and charm. And let us remember that she wanted Newsom, not Kamala Harris. And just so that we bring the receipts, because again, I want folks to remember when we started out the year 2025, Gavin Newsom launched his podcast. Instead of bringing on progressives, instead of laying out what could be his 2028 agenda, he threw trans people under the bus when he brought on right-wing, MAGA, white nationalist personalities, from Charlie Kirk to Steve Bannon to Shapiro and others. He threw trans people under the bus. He has, in the meantime, right? He doesn't say anything negative about AIPAC. When asked about that, he just says, it's interesting. And let me see if I can actually pull up this clip of him. Because
Oh, yeah,
again,
that was a great Van Lathan. Yeah.
it speaks volumes as to who you are, what your character is.
You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting. I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC. It's interesting. It's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC. And it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
Can I ask you a question? Oh, so I talked to Van Lathan, right, about this. Francesca had both of us on. We played that clip. Van Lathan, who was asking the question, he sincerely said, in real time, when I asked that question about AIPAC, he kept saying, it's interesting. It keeps going on. Gavin Newsom keeps going, it's interesting. It's interesting. And Van Lathan was like, I was really sincerely curious. Why was it interesting? So I kept asking him. And it was later when I read the comments that I realized, he was unsubtly implying that I was an anti-Semite for bringing up AIPAC. And for those who don't know Gavin Newsom and haven't followed him, that was pissed off Newsom. That was him being pissed off. Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting. So Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collected Gavin Newsom lost his cool, much like Hakeem Jeffries, much like Cory Booker, much like Pete Buttigieg, on this question of Israel and AIPAC. The smoothest talkers in the DNC, when confronted, because no one ever confronts them about this, that's when they lose their cool. And there you go. This was just 2 weeks ago.
Yep. Governor Gavin Newsom tells Ben Shapiro he disagrees with AOC and Kamala Harris that ICE should be abolished, right? Okay. And again, this is the same person that is telling us, right, that I want to be your president. I'm going to run for president in 2028. Can't stand up to AIPAC, thinks that the questions are interesting, won't agree on abolishing ICE, and then just to put the cherry on top, so that folks, when again Democrats in their, I don't know, flight of fancy believe that we're going to have a presidential election that is open and fair, when Gavin Newsom throws his hat in the ring, I want you to also remember this. and I'm going to play this clip
2 months ago.
because
This was just 2 months ago.
this is Gavin Newsom being asked about taxing the rich.
Is a wealth tax proposal in California that I think you are adamantly against.
Yes, I am.
And we have a mayor that's coming here in New York who would like to have a wealth tax if he could. You couldn't be more diametrically opposed.
Yeah, well, I want to be a Big Ten party. It's about addition, not subtraction.
But this idea of a unifying theory of the case.
I mean, I think we all want to be protected. We all want to be respected. We all want to be connected to something bigger than ourselves. We have fundamental values that I think define our party about social justice, economic justice. I think we recognize it's important to focus on growth, but also focus on inclusion. We have pre-distribution Democrats. We have redistribution Democrats. And therein lies the dialectic, and therein lies the debate within the Democratic Party. We also have Democrats that are representative of their districts, representative of the people that they represent. So much punditry has been done about, well, is the future of the party Mandami? At the same election that occurred, well, is the future, hold on, of Virginia? Is the future New Jersey? Is the future?
But which is it? And that's the question about the unifying theory question, which is you could have a big tent, but if the theories of the case are so diametrically opposed, how split and broken is the party?
Look, the party's knitting itself back together. We got shellacked in the last election. And there's been a lot of forensic analysis, perhaps not enough, about what.
There's a whole lot of nothing.
No,
that
he said,
was
but he said it. Big Tent. He's never gone against Peter Thiel. Really hasn't gone too much against the billionaire class. He hasn't gone against Palantir. Why? Because they all give money to Gavin Newsom. They all give money to California Democrats, folks. All these Silicon Valley psychopaths have given money to Newsom and Dems, which is why you've never seen him aggressively go after these people. But they're part of the big tent. This is part of our big tent, Danielle. Talk to us about who's in our tent.
Abundance has a new 501c4 group to help push its deregulatory message, according to reporting by Axios. Next American Era will be headed up by former DCCC chair and current OpenAI and Oracle lobbyist Sherry Bustos, furthering integrating data center construction with Abundance.
Can I just stress that current OpenAI and Oracle lobbyist? Who started Oracle? Larry Ellison. Ellison and his nepo baby son David Ellison have taken over TikTok, taken over CBS and Paramount. Larry Ellison's the biggest private donor to the IDF. Hardcore pro-Trumpers, hardcore pro-Israel and Netanyahu. OpenAI, Sam Altman, another one of these psychopaths. Who's gobbling up all our resources? Who's spending all this money? AI. Will AI succeed? If it does, there goes, I don't know, thousands of jobs. If it doesn't
Not
succeed,
thousands, millions
of jobs. Not just factory workers, but also, as they openly now brag about, even, some white collar jobs, upper middle class jobs. Don't you worry about it. AI will take care of everything. So if it succeeds, pretty much fundamentally restructuring humanity and making us into a servant class and serfs. But if it fails, which I think it will, because they've overinvested, the bubble's going to burst. And guess who is going to be asked to bail them out, Danielle? Because, Danielle, you know why? Gavin Newsom told you. They're part of the big tent.
Yeah.
We have to help them.
I would love for that tent to collapse. And just, more of AI and those that back it and those that, the techno fascists. For a country to survive, there has to be a common culture. Then go back to yours. I don't understand why he's here promoting a common culture. Go back to South Africa. Nobody dies to defend a multicultural economic zone. This is the big tent. American culture with its English, Scot, Irish origins. Okay. What else are they up to and want to make sure is deregulated? Inside Silicon Valley, billionaires' dangerous bid to engineer genetically superior babies. You know who believed in that and who came out in the files? Epstein.
Yep.
Wanted to be able to rape with impunity and create basically pregnancy farms with his seed and not have to worry about, this petty thing called the law. This is why these people were all up in Epstein's syndicate and circle. This is what they believe. This is what they want. To what ends? Domination. It's just, and here as we wrap up, because I think that it is fucking important to say, as we go through all of the reasons why establishment Democrats are not it, all the reasons why we need to be more strategic with who we want to represent us, all the reasons why we cannot be fear-mongered by the establishment corporatized Democrats into taking the crumbs that they give us and saying that Newsom is the best to go up against, fill in the blank. This is what Obama has said recently. Democrats struggle. Could be partly because they're just too old. There is an element of, at some point, you age out.
Yep.
And yet we have members right now who are in their mid 80s running for 6-year terms again. It makes no fucking sense. We need term limits. These people need to be gone. I believe in institutional knowledge, and I believe that there is a place for those with institutional knowledge. But do I believe that you should die in office? No. Do I believe that you should be wheeled out because you are too fucking old? No, I don't.
I mean, look at what happened to look what's happening to Mitch McConnell as we speak. Look what happened to Dianne Feinstein. Like, they think it's their birthright, Danielle. And Obama did say that. I agree with Obama. He's pretty much said it, and that was like a shot to his own party. Some people got to leave, and I'll also say this: if you are older but you have fresh ideas, stay and fight, right? But this is ossified thinking, and folks. I'm 45. It happens. As you get older, you become set in certain things. And what we have seen for the past decade, I've always said this, they're not built for this fight. They are not made for this moment. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for your service. Goodbye. Thank you, all these other fighters. You're not made for this. You are not made for this, and you choose not to evolve. You choose not to adapt. You choose not to learn new languages. You're like that old person yelling at the clouds. Kids these days, they don't know what Israel did for us. Kids these days, they have no appreciation for ICE. Kids these days with their different pronouns. Kids these days need to know that capitalism is the best way. And look at all the polls. Young people are like, what has capitalism done for me, Danielle? Like, you can't blame them. What has democracy done for me? All right. A few people are like, okay, Donald Trump, I'll take a Donald Trump. I'll take a Bernie Sanders, even though it's not the same thing at all. I'll take an AOC. I'll take a Democratic Socialist. Give me something. But this system has failed me. And what Democrats are saying, this system has feathered my nest.
Yep.
I know the system. I run the system. Why would I ever want to change the system and give up control? And voila, you have Schumer, Pelosi, and Hakeem Jeffries.
And I just want to close out with this, folks, because again, all of this is overwhelming. All of this is numbing. And you forget when you have been inundated with Donald Trump for the last decade, like what a good person, a good leader is supposed to look and sound like. You forget that it isn't normal that we boo our president and vice president anytime that we see their faces, right? That there was a time when the responsibility on bringing people together, on bringing the country together, is in the hands of the president of the United States, right? And we've kind of just shrugged that off because Donald Trump and MAGA have conditioned us into believing that, like, your leadership shouldn't matter, right? They can do and say whatever they want, and they're only beholden to those that voted for them as opposed to the entirety of the country. So just want to show you this. Over the weekend was the NBA All-Star game. And the Obamas, as well as Sasha Obama, were in attendance. And it was just so wonderful to see them courtside, living their lives, all of the players coming up to hug them, to just give dap, to give appreciation. And I want you for a moment to listen to what happened when they were put up on the Jumbotron.
Oh, that burns Donald Trump. They'll never, I've always said this, they'll never love you, Donald, as much as they loved Barack Obama, black man. They'll never love you. They'll never love Melania as much as they love Michelle. You'll never, ever, ever, ever be as popular as those two. Never, ever, never, ever.
Ever.
We just found out, oh, some sad news, some breaking news.
Okay.
Kind of sad news if you are a fan of movies. I am. One of the great actors of the past, 50 years, Robert Duvall, just passed away.
Oh,
Died at the
no.
age of 95. His wife announced it. Apparently, Luciano Duvall said that yesterday we said goodbye to my beloved husband, cherished friend, and one of the great actors of our time. Bob passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by love and comfort. Robert Duvall, fantastic actor, folks. I mean, just awesome. Go check out his work. Godfather, Apocalypse Now. I mean, just so many excellent roles. He's been at it since the 70s. Also in To Kill a Mockingbird. Yep, that's Robert Duvall as Boo Radley. Really fantastic actor. So it's really interesting. I mean, we are at this age, Danielle. I don't know if you feel it, like it's the sandwich years where you welcome babies and you say goodbye to elders. It's coming in waves. Birth and
Yeah.
death hit you in waves.
Yeah. It's a hard chapter. It's a hard chapter. All right, folks, that is it for us today on Democracy Ish. Waj, before you get out of here, please promote yourself.
At 2 p.m., we have a fantastic researcher, pollster, communicator, Anat Shankar Osorio, who
Oh,
really
I
does
love
the
her.
thing.
I'm going to tune in.
Yeah, 2 p.m. She's coming in because she saw these clips and she has some thoughts. But she says, instead of saying this is what the polling shows Democrats should say to win over a disaffected majority. So she's going to talk about her response to where the Democratic leadership is and what they should be doing. And then at 3 p.m., Qasim Rashid also saw the clips and he has thoughts and he goes, this is where we should be standing on ICE, DHS, and also APAC. That'll be at 3 p.m. Danielle Moodie, you have to subscribe to her. It's daniellemoodie.substack.com. It's the damn digest. Everything is free. I just put a link in. Like me, she's a terrible capitalist. I also have my 25% off special going on for the end of this month. It's the lefthook.substack.com/special. It's $3.75 a month. We take no money. If you have no money, it's fine. Just subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, press like and the hearts. Subscribe to Danielle's YouTube channel. Folks, I know this sounds ridiculous, but all the hearts and the likes and the subscribes, that's what tells the elves in the algorithm to boost up this content. And we're independent, completely independent. So we actually compete with these giant behemoth corporations. But we're doing pretty well, Danielle.
I think so.
Danielle, shamelessly promote yourself, please.
Yes. As Waj said, everything is free. We keep our content free because critical thinking dies behind a paywall. But if you have the resources like these generous folks here on YouTube that gifted a membership, Ghostface Killer, Susan, our wonderful moderator, $20, MK Brom, $1.99, every dollar counts. Susan gifted a membership, our ARMC giving us pounds. And Susan again, Chris, $2, Game Shark, and Christine,
$10. Wow.
$10. We appreciate it. And folks, again, like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching this on our Substacks and you have the ability to become a paid subscriber, consider becoming a paid subscriber. It allows us the support to do the work that we are doing. But if not, like, comment, and subscribe, share away. I will be back today at 5 p.m. with the Danielle Moodie Show. So in between now and then, watch Waj's fantastic interviews on the Left Hook. And share. Him and I will be back on. Oh, PJ, you are
wow. Thank
just
you,
very
PJ. That's very kind.
extraordinarily generous. We will
PJ,
be back.
PJ, you know, you just subsidized Danielle's fancy coffee for a couple of months.
for at least 3 months. But we will be back on Wednesday for our midweek check-in on Substack, and then again on Friday, folks. So hang in there, because God knows what this week is going to bring. That Donald Trump has watched the Obamas get a standing ovation. Some place is going to be invaded or bombed, or someone is going to be tortured because he's a small man. As always, we appreciate you. Thank you. Take care of yourselves and each other, and please, oh please, don't be a fascist.